Hello BrewTubers and welcome to this beer tasting video. Going to be looking at a beer I thought I'd done a video of before, but I don't think I have. It is my 1860 Truman's XXX Mild, which I brewed a couple of months ago. So yes, this is a Victorian recipe, so the milds are probably about 8 or 9%, can't quite remember off the top of my head. I believe it's a smash beer if my memory serves me. 100% Marisota pale malt and East Kent Goldings in quite large quantities, I'd imagine. But yes, it's not looking like it's a pale beer, is it? The reason why it is so dark is it went through what I believe is known as a Maillard reaction. The boil was about 4 hours long to reach the right OG. So yes, obviously the sugars have caramelized in the wort as it was boiling to make this rather, well, it does look like a mild, doesn't it? Really, it's sort of that sort of dark copper colour with sort of reddish and amber hues. Yeah, but dark beer considering it's got no colouring additions in whatsoever. Fairly flat, unfortunately. I mean, you can see there is a little bit of carbonation there, but not much. I was worried that it would continue fermenting in the bottle, so didn't add much in the way of primings to the bottles when I bottled them. But oh well, you know, there is a bit of fizz there. On the nose, let's have a smell. What am I picking up? That sort of treacle, I suppose. Trying to get some. Yeah, not really much of a nose to it. There is, but it's just quite hard to describe. Treacle and prunes, I think, is the best sort of nose I can give. And as you can see, it's got a fairly thick body to it. You can see the lacing, well, not lacing, but the liquid sort of steam clean to the side of the glass. Let's go in for a taste. Very thick, and dry as well. It's very unusual. That's what it is. Right, it's a big bodied beer. It does have an initial hit of sweetness, but it does have like a dry, always tannin-like finish to it. I'm guessing that it may come from the length of the boil. Perhaps it's a slightly burnt sugar taste, possibly. And what is that sweetness? Very syrupy sort of sweetness, because it's such a thick beer. It's more akin to a barley wine than a mild, really, but yeah, very rich. Fruit cake, I suppose. Like a Christmas fruit cake, though. A very fruity, dark fruit cake. I suppose hints of plums, prunes, raisins. but the finish is very unusual. It is a bit tingly on the tongue as well. Do get a certain amount of spiciness as well, which I believe is probably from the large amount of hops in. I can't remember exactly, but I think it's about 120 grams of hops in there. Perhaps a few more. Was it something like 10 hops a litre? Perhaps it was more. I can't remember. Anyway, you do get a sort of hoppy taste in terms of like a sort of spiciness, I suppose. And sort of there's a slightly sort of bitter finish there as well. But it's more akin to a barley wine. It's an interesting beer. It's a very interesting beer. Half a pint. And I'm feeling a bit funny. I would like to brew it again. Very difficult beer to brew though, because the grist is so full. You know, it's about, we're using about 7, 8, 9 kilos of malt for 25 litre brew. That you have to have a lot of liquor in the mash tun to obviously be able to mash the beer, and then you have to do a lot of sparging as well to get as much sugar out as possible. Which is why I did the extended mash, because I had a lot of liquor in the mash tun to mash the beer. Sparged it to about 40, 50 litres I think, and then boiled down 20, 25 litres to get the right OG. So it's the only way I could think of doing it and still get decent efficiency. Very difficult sort of beer style to produce, although I believe it wasn't uncommon for sort of Victorian breweries to boil for extended periods of time anyway, so perhaps the extended boil is fairly authentic. And I suppose it might also explain how Marlds became to be a dark beer as well. You consider that has no coloration, no roasted malts, that's 100% pale malt in there, and it's that colour. So perhaps that explains why modern malts, such as the Green King XXX malt here, which is one of my favourite beers, is that colour, because that's what the extended boil turned the beer into. So it's an interesting theory, but yeah. Would I brew this again? Probably. Just shame it's such a difficult beer to brew. Yeah, it's got like a funny finish, like dry tannin, sandy sort of finish. It's very unusual. Very unusual. But a big sweet forefront taste. Interesting. Plums, prunes, fruitcake, burnt sugar, sweet, thick. You get the idea. Quite a nice beer actually, to be honest. Couldn't have more than one though, certainly not a sessionable beer. Sessionable beer at 8.5%, 9%. Anyway, leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again soon, I'm sure. Bye bye.